Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, a school bus is involved in an incident in Greenup County. And President Trump announces a plan to determine sweeping new tariffs on U.S. trade partners.
And we have a little bit of a break from the rain, but we're not out of the woods yet. Details in a few minutes.
Dedicated to Southern and Eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Amelia Lee. While Eastern Kentucky has experienced a lot of rain these last couple of days, we had a break today, but we're not done yet. Meteorologist Eric Dean is monitoring the situation in our first alert weather day. Eric, what can folks expect as they work to head back home this evening?
All right, so we're staying quiet as we go throughout the evening hours and into the day on Friday. We'll see mostly sunny skies for your Friday. There's a look at live pinpoint Doppler radar. The good news is, again, all is quiet right now across Eastern Kentucky. Now, we did have some rain earlier today. This is since midnight. Harlan picked up about 2,200 7-inch, 2,400 7-inch over towards the Frenchburg area, 1/4 of an inch near Moorhead. Hindman picked up 800 7-inch. Somerset just under 1/4 of an inch. Now, everybody in the WYMT viewing area is under a flood watch. This starts Saturday morning at 4 a.m. and goes until Sunday at 10 p.m. Again, that's for every county in the WYMT viewing area. Temperatures right now, we're seeing temperatures hovering around freezing. 31 Jackson, 32 Boonville, 32 in London, 30 in Somerset. Middlesboro's at 35. Harlan is at 35. We'll drop down to 21 for tonight. We'll see a temperature of 30 with partly cloudy skies by 10 p.m. Partly cloudy skies when you wake up with temperatures hovering around 24. Now, again, we're not out of the woods yet in terms of rain. We have some coming in this weekend. We'll talk about that in the first alert forecast in a few minutes. Amelia.
All right, thank you, Eric. A Greenup County school bus was involved in an incident this morning. The incident happened along Route 1 and Long Branch. According to the Greenup County Sheriff's Office, the school superintendent told our sister station mud on the roadway caused the bus to slide into a ditch. There were 7 students on board at the time. They were all taken to school. One hospital system and one Kentucky university are forging a partnership to help build a more sustainable workforce. Humana is giving $75,000 to Eastern Kentucky University. Kentucky's Council on Post-Secondary Education is matching that dollar for dollar for a grand total of $150,000 for the nursing program. The donation comes at a time when Kentucky's healthcare industry needs support, especially in rural areas.
The Kentucky Nurses Association has predicted a potential shortage of 20,000 nurses in the state by 2025. This is a critical problem, but we are coming together today to take action.
EKU has 770 students enrolled in its Bachelor of Science in Nursing program. They noted that 72% of graduates have stayed in Kentucky. That's the highest rate of any institution in the state. President Donald Trump signed more executive orders this afternoon regarding tariffs. It comes ahead of a meeting at the White House with the head of India. Erica Brown is on Capitol Hill with the latest on that, plus the fallout from the president's comment yesterday that the U.S. and Russia have agreed to start negotiating to end the war in Ukraine.
President Trump signed an executive order Thursday to determine sweeping reciprocal tariffs on U.S. trade partners.
Whatever they charge us, we're charging them, so it works out very well.
The new tariffs would match what other countries impose on American imports, escalating fears of a global trade war and higher prices for American consumers.
Economists have said, time and time again that tariffs do end up being a bit of a short-term and potentially long-term effect on things like inflation. And obviously that affects price levels that we see on the consumer level.
The president's announcement came just ahead of a meeting with India's prime minister at the White House. The U.S. imports far more from India than the other way around.
India traditionally is the highest, just about the highest tariff country. They charge more tariffs than any other country. And we'll be talking about that.
The new tariffs are in addition to the 25% Trump already imposed on steel and aluminum imports earlier this week. President Trump also addressed his comment Wednesday that the U.S. would lead negotiations with Russia to end their war with Ukraine, saying he trusts Russian President Vladimir Putin when it comes to ending the war.
I believe that he would like to see something happen. I trust him on this subject.
Earlier in the day, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said his country will not accept any agreements without direct involvement in the talks. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
President Trump also said he wants to discuss reducing nuclear weapons with Russia and China in the near future. Those peace talks between Ukraine and Russia have the attention of some Nicholasville residents in central Kentucky. There's an estimated 5,000 people of Ukrainian descent living around that area. One man says he's glad to hear the talk of peace between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin, but he is concerned that peace may come with a price tag.
I think it's going to be a hefty price tag, unfortunately. But, I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Victor Salapina's brother, Jake, says if peace talks are happening, Ukraine must be included in the dialogue. The brothers have family in western Ukraine. At last check, they're doing okay. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum says her country may sue Google after it changed its maps to say the Gulf of America. Google made the adjustment following an executive order from President Trump. Sheinbaum says Mexico has sovereignty over its territorial waters, and she expects Google to commit to internationally recognized geographical names. Google has said previously it applies name changes when they have been updated in official government sources. A new poll by Marquette Law School found that a vast majority of people believe the president must still honor the Supreme Court's rulings. According to the poll, 83% of Americans believe a president is required to follow the High Court's decisions, and less than 20% said a president has the power to ignore the Supreme Court. It comes as President Donald Trump has faced blowback for questioning the legitimacy of court decisions. The Senate has confirmed Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. The 52-48 vote fell along party lines, except for former Senate Majority Leader and polio survivor Mitch McConnell, who was the only Republican voting no. RFK Jr. has long been a critic of vaccines and faced a contentious nomination process, with other members of the Kennedy family speaking out against his confirmation.
Whether you're in a blue state or red state, I'm going to do everything I can to work with you, whether you're Democrat or Republican, to restore child's health in this country.
As Health and Human Services Secretary, RFK Jr. will oversee the nation's health industry, which includes food safety, pharmaceuticals, public health, and vaccines. Donald Trump's pick to lead the Department of Education is making her way through the nomination process. Linda McMahon vowed to keep Pell Grants, money for low-income schools, and public service loan forgiveness. Many are wondering if she's on board with the dismantling of the department. Senator Bernie Sanders says to abolish the Department of Education, it would have to clear Congress. The final vote for McMahon is expected in the coming days. A federal judge has extended a pause on the Trump administration's dismantling of U.S. aid for another week. The judge said he will keep a court order in place until February 21st that reinstates U.S. aid workers. The administration previously placed on paid leave. It blocks the administration from taking further action that could hurt the workers, especially those in foreign countries with high security risks. At least 30 people were hurt after a car drove into a crowd in Munich, Germany. Police arrested the driver of the car and say he's from Afghanistan. Investigators say he is connected to drug and theft incidences, and they're trying to figure out if this was intentional. It comes as the city is getting ready to host the Munich Security Conference of World Leaders, including Vice President J.D. Vance, beginning tomorrow. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, tuition is not the only thing you have to pay for when attending college. We hear from an expert about saving up for other housing costs.
And all eyes are on the weekend. We'll break everything down coming up in a few minutes.